We are 1 month away from the Olympics, but today we're going to be taking a look at the top 30 Olympic card sales here on eBay. This list is going to be dominated by athletes like Babe Didrikson, as well as Jim Thor, Jesse Owens, and Paavo Nurmi. The cheapest of the top 30, we're looking around $100, but our top sale exceeds $8,000. All right, let's take a look at this list. Starting off the list this week, we have a 1991 Impel. This is a Bruce Caitlyn Jenner autograph. So, signed quite a while ago. Nice auto on there. It has a trading card label and also looks like a JSA certification sticker. I'm not a huge fan of putting stickers on cards like this, but I do understand it. But I should have went with the actual labeling of the card. This is actually a somewhat popular release of Olympics cards. Up next, slightly under $100, we have a 1932 Riemsta. I think it's the pronunciation. I could be completely off. This is a German release, and this is pre-Sports Kings. So if you're looking for a cheap Babe Didrikson, this is your example that you could grab. I mean, you're looking at a 5 for $100. What would they go in the Sports Kings? I mean, that'd be well over $1,000, maybe $2,000-$3,000, I would assume. And there are some variants of this back. I'm not too sure the scarcity behind all of the different variants, but I will say and warn you that these cards are plenty available out of Germany. So don't pay up a ton for it unless it's like in really, really nice shape. $110 for this 1986 Carl Lewis. I'm a runner, so I do want to eventually get some Carl Lewis cards in my collection. I haven't really studied to see what his rarest stuff is. I assume his 1986 Panini Super Sorts is one of his first. This card is actually on the list a little bit later again, but just graded. So this one, in my opinion, probably should have gotten a dual grade. Probably send that to PSA to do that on that side of things, or do the Beckett dual grade on it. And you'll see it in a sec. $115 for this Ed Blood 1933 Sports Kings Winter Olympics. $120. This is what I was talking about over here. And this is an SGC6. Back over here. I don't know. I think that first card had a shot at a 6 at least. And then you throw the autograph on there. There's definitely some money left on the table not getting that dual grade. $150 for this Irving. I assume his last name is Jaffe. And it looks like he was an ice skater. Fact, in the 3rd Olympic Winter Games held at Lake Placid, New York. Jaffe has won over 1,000 medals and trophies. That's crazy, including 3 Olympic skating championships. $150. Another just labeled card of Usain Bolt autograph on here. What a legendary athlete. He is a sprinter, obviously. I do long distance running, but you gotta be impressed with all the records that he hit. $159 for this 1983 Jim Thorpe PSA 10. He has so many cards earlier, but 1983 Topps Olympians. Let me see on this side of things. So we'll see a few other Thorpe cards a little bit later in this list. $175. Actually, one of my favorite Olympians is Paavo Nurmi, and this is Cloetta. I want to say this is like a Swedish set, if I remember correctly. Don't remember for sure. $199 for the Duke. And this is a PSA 4. This actually kind of surprised me with this sale. But there's another athlete in this set that sells decently well. The Mark Spitz rookie. Sorry, I was blanking for a second, but Mark Spitz. I don't even think of 4 of his sales for about $200 yet. So that's kind of crazy to me. This sold for $200. I looked up this guy and he won some medals in the Olympics, I believe. This is a Japanese release. So the card is numbered 13 out of 30. $249 for Anton, I would assume, Lekang. Another Winter Olympics. $255 for this Harry Jensen. This has a Tolstoy back, SGC 4.5. This T218. There's also a lot of boxers in this set. You guys might be familiar with that. I thought this was a pretty high sale. He's actually a pretty good athlete, if I remember correctly. I'm just going to look up his name and we can go over some of his stats. All right, so I was actually wrong. There's another Olympic athlete in this set, a runner. So it wasn't Jensen, but you can see member of the Olympic team 1907 as a marathon runner. I want to take a look at the back over here, and he ran a marathon time in 2 hours and 46 minutes and 43 and a half, 1.5 seconds. 2 hours and 46 minutes and 43 seconds. And it's a good time still today. They don't have Vaporflies or any of those other really good marathon shoes. But I got the names flipped up or missed up. And there's another runner in this set that's actually really good. So this was, I assume, a pretty high sale at $255 for the Tolstoy. Simon Biles, $299 for this autograph. She does have some on-card autos in this set, and they sell for quite a bit, but still showing you that this sold for $300 for a post autograph. And again, we have another trading card without the set being labeled. $316 for this Heini Sonja. I think that's how I pronounce it. For a lot of people, you would think this is like a crazy price, but she's actually a top 10 Olympian of all time. On top of this, this isn't the easiest set to find. You'll see a Pavo Nurmi a little bit later in the video, which sold for even more. And these were some of the first German cards from Greiling from 1926. And I actually learned this from an author. I showed it on the channel a while ago. One of his books that I purchased. I talked to him about this set, and he told me that these are pretty hard to find. So I still need to grab this card. I did not bid on this. Actually, in fact, kind of funny, I'm blocked by the eBay seller. No idea why. I always pay for what I purchase, but I can't bid on his auctions. So if you know Maple Leaf, yeah, I'm blocked, unfortunately. I would have probably bid on some of his cards. $342. I assume that this was something, was it like a setup deal on here? Nadia Komankasi, I don't know how to pronounce that. And that was a PSA 8. Let's see what she is famous for. 5-time Olympic gold medalist, 1976 at the age of 14, awarded a perfect score of 10. Okay, so that's who got the perfect score of 10. I've heard of this before, but there you go. $343 for this 1976 Bruce Jenner. I wonder if this is one of his first cards. I don't really see the 76 Montreal Panini stickers that often either. $400 for this 1936 Nestle Jesse Owens in a PSA 6. Really miscut card. But I want to say that Nestle is harder to find than some of his Ogden stuff. It's not the toughest, though. I've seen some other Nestles sell before. But so pretty cool getting a 6. And Owens has so many cards from the 30s, by the way. $450 for this 1912 Olympics Jim Thorpe. Honestly, I don't think this was a bad deal. Some of these postcards are tough to find. And showing the price of some of the other Jim Thorpe stuff out there, I think this is a pretty good buy from 1912. I'm sure he has other stuff from this Olympic Games as well. $485. This is the one that I would have bought. Well, I don't know if I would have bid $485 on this, but if I was able to bid on this auction, I would have. But that Pavo Nurmi, one of the most famous marathon runners of all time, and being that I run ultras and long distance, that's one of my favorite sports. So I have a decent amount of Pavo Nurmi stuff. His first card is his W590, and funny enough, I bought that in a bargain bin a long time ago. I think it's like a Pop 1 or a Pop 2 across all the grading companies. And W590s, if you're familiar with baseball cards, they tend to be very tough. And I guess I just got super lucky. finding that in the bin because it was one of those cards that I've searched years and years for. But I still need to grab this one. There's still a lot of other rare Pavo Nurmi cards that I want to grab as well. 511 for this Johnny Weissmuller 7. I think this was a great deal for a 7. Johnny obviously being the original Tarzan, a gold medal Olympiast as well. $511. You get this in a new slab. Someone did really well. If I had more ComC credit and I actually saw this, I probably would have bid on it. But right now, I'm adding a lot of stuff to my ComC store, so I'm not taking anything out. But this is awesome. $575 for this 55 Thorpe. And yeah, I know this could go in the football list as well, but Thorpe is also Olympian, so I think probably equal amount of people know him as an Olympian or as like a baseball player or as a football player. Although he is most famous for being an Olympian, I will say that. But card wise, I think it's a probably equal distribution. $580 for the 1937 Jesse Owens Champions of 1936 in a grade of a 6.5. These cards used to be pretty easy to find, but they have been drying up a little bit. And there's a bit of a premium getting them in nice shape. It's not always the easiest to find cards out of the UK in great shape. A lot of them are put into albums, they're pasted, or you have to grab essentially tweezers and pull them out, which always damages the surface. Pretty big jump. We're going into another 1936 Jesse Owens, and also no pun intended because he's jumping here. But this is in an 8. Really, really awesome grade for this card. Show you guys the back as well. He has quite a few cards in this alpha set. I want to say it's 4 or 5. $999 for this playing card of the Duke. This actually isn't his first card. I want to say this was distributed in the late 1910s. He has another card that's way earlier. It's very, very expensive, but I mean, this is a really good sale to see. $1,025. Yes, again, it is a baseball card, but it is featuring Thorpe, and I will include it in this list because of that. Most of the value on this card is because of Thorpe. The other T200 cards, they do have Hall of Famers. I believe there's one with Joe Jackson, if I remember correctly, but you also have other legendary pitchers and things like that on cards. But the value is stored with Thorpe on here, and why you got over that $1,000 for 1.5. Another Duke card, 1199 for this 1933 in a 4. I'm going to say this is a super generous 4. I don't think this gets a 4 today. Probably a 2.5, maybe a 3. But yeah. 3161 for this 1912 Jim Thorpe. I definitely want to grab one of these one day, but they are so pricey. I don't know if they'll go down. I feel like they will eventually, but Thorpe is, I mean, when you're popular among 3 sports, you have a pretty big collector base trying to purchase you. And I feel like there's still an Olympic bump out there right now just because Olympic Games are on. You don't want to buy Olympic cards during the Olympic Games. That's when most people buy them. So you want to buy them off season. And 161. Highest sale, this sold for about $8,000. 1935 Maradi Jesse Owens in a 7.5. You know what's crazy though? I want to say a 7 or 8 a few years ago sold for like $30,000. There's a lot of these Jesse Owens cards out there still that are raw. So be careful at spending a ton of money on them. Although this is technically one of 2 cards from 1935 of him. But even in low grade, I think ones are probably about $2,000 or $3,000, but there's a lot of ones because they were pasted album. You have a little bit of paper loss on that side of things. So I just want to go over a few honorable mentions. I don't have a ton this week on the honorable mention side of things. This Babe Didrikson, another one from Reemsta. This one sold for $90 in a PSA 6. And then this Carl Lewis lot sold for $100. This was originally my list, and I had to move it out just because there's a lot, and it's a question of sports. It says UK booster pack. I don't think a question of sports are too tough to find, but that is what, 9, and then plus you get all these bonus cards. So that's it for this week. If I missed any top Olympic sales, please let me know. I'm doing both modern and vintage, and if you're brand new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you want to watch last month's top 30, I also have a playlist with it. All right, I'll see you guys in another video.